According to LifeScience.org, forcing a lot of homework onto students is counterproductive and actually lowers test scores. Hello, my name is Katelynn Daniels and welcome to my last speech. Today I will explain to you why young students, specifically elementary students, shouldn't have to endure a lot of homework when they get home. I chose elementary specifically because I'm an elementary ed major, so I've had a lot of knowledge on the subject so far in my major. And as an education major, we've discussed it a lot in class, so I've been able to see both sides and formulate my own opinion on the matter. As we all know, especially as college students, we know what it's like to drown in homework, and it's not fun. And a lot of times, sometimes for elementary students, they have a lot of homework to do, and even for them, it's not entertaining. It's a lot of monotonous practice, which is not fun for anyone. So today I will talk about how excessive homework can foster dislike. Students already spend all day at schools and how it's rarely enjoyable. First, we're going to discuss how it can foster dislike for students. According to intellectualtakeout.org, homework has been seen to have a negative impact on young students' attitudes towards schools, so making them dislike it from the start is counterintuitive. Learning at this level should be fun and engaging. As we all know, homework is usually not fun, especially in elementary school. I remember not wanting to do it. If they start to hate school early on, it'll only detriment them as they go on in their education career, and it'll make them unattentive, and they won't be able to learn as much if they're not as engaged, especially because it's hard to focus on homework after they pay attention all day. Next, we'll discuss how much time students already spend at schools. As stated from mathpreppa.com, kids already have 7 hours of school. You start school at 8 and go home at 3. That's a full day of school. Most adults work similar lengths of time at work and come home exhausted. I know I used to remember from elementary school wanting to come home and take a nap. I remember that even from college. It can be really exhausting. As shown in the picture, kids can even end up falling asleep in schools, which is really unfortunate because then they end up missing lessons, and that missing content can be really bad. Once the lesson builds on prior lessons, they're going to have a missing part of that. And this can be especially challenging for students with learning disabilities, having to focus all day at school and then coming home and having to focus on homework. It can be really bad for them. Lastly, we'll discuss how unenjoyable homework is. As stated by listland.com, if homework instilled a love for learning or cultivated a passion for acquiring knowledge, there would be a little problem with it. More often than not, however, homework comes in the form that is pointless, mindless, and in such vast quantities that there can be no time for absorption or reflection. As I stated before, it's monotonous extra practice. Usually, like for math, for instance, there's just extra problems for extra practice, but if students already know how to do it, there's not going to be a problem with it. They understand the steps. The extra practice a lot of times isn't completely necessary. And like I said with my opening quote, it can be counterproductive. Students do it the same thing over and over again. They're not going to want to do it anymore, which is bad. To reiterate, elementary school students should not have too much homework. Too much can foster a dislike for school, and it can exhaust and unengage them. By not drowning them in homework, you would increase the odds of the students liking school. They can be more passionate about their education, and they'll put forth more effort into their learning. It'll also give them time to recharge when they get home, so that the next day they can pay more attention and be happier. For my call to action, as a future teacher, I know that I'm not going to drown my students in homework and give them too much. I think the only homework that I would allow them would be if they didn't finish anything that day, have them take it home to work on. But other than that, I wouldn't have them do too much extra practice. And I implore other elementary teachers to do the same so that their students don't suffer it. Thank you for listening.